Hey, I am online. How amazing is this? Welcome on Superbooth 2021. We are online. My name is Mr. Schneider and I welcome on board Mr. Jörg SUNDERKÖTTER, and we are trying now to entertain you with everything about the Superbooth. For those who could not make it to Berlin today, to have a wonderful morning on Wednesday, seeing all these tents and the amazing atmosphere out of the feeds, and now all buying our wonderful super umbrellas, and as long as the umbrellas are not selling out completely, the rain that started in the early afternoon won't stop. I'm sorry. Good idea, no?
Best thing you can do. I mean, anyway, it's the best thing. You can come here, but we have a stream. You can have all the concerts and interviews in the stream, but I would suggest to come here. It's the best place to be.
All exhibitors have been very happy about the position that they never have seen before. They are placed in tents, in little huts in the bungalow dorf. And behind us, perhaps you can see a glimpse of the seaside stage where later on Yann TIERSEN should play a wonderful concert after our little introduction of this amazing event for you, wherever you are, is over. And best case, you understand a bit better about what we're doing here and join us tomorrow or the day after tomorrow or on Saturday in Berlin to meet up, because as far as I know, there's still a few tickets available. And now we will start, or soon we will start our program. And we have a few Gesprächskonzerte. This is product presentations, as we always did them.
Yeah, but this one is very special, I think. It's a virtual Gesprächskonzert.
That's the first one. But we also have one real Gesprächskonzert later on. I wanted to get it from the back to the front. And the real Gesprächskonzert is from today, recorded at noon. And this is the American company Haken with his French friend La Voix du Luthier. And they have presented their stuff in wonderful weather over here outdoors, and we will let you see that at 5:30.
Yeah, I was very excited about listening to Edmund Egan with his Haken fingerboard and his synthesizer he made for it, and he's a great performer.
He is, and he also designed the Egan matrix, where you can edit this amazing instrument. We will have a few interviews with Yann TIERSEN here that will be made by Daniel Miller himself. We will have more words on this later on. And then there's another virtual Gesprächskonzert of noise engineering.
But first we have ADITIJA.
That's the very first one where we start with.
We've had some incredible artists come and play over here as well. I mean, I remember a couple of years ago, just before Corona shut down the whole world, we had a DJ lineup that would have made Bougaieff. And there's definitely like a big evolution because you know the history. You're aware of the history of electronic music in general, so you know that it began in India with a little bit with sidetrons, and then also on the commercial side with Bollywood and disco, and that's kind of where the synthesizer started coming in. I don't think I'm the first, but I'm one of the very few active people in the Eurorack manufacturing scene right now. So there's one other person that I definitely know of who is currently producing and selling gear in Goa. In the guitar pedal world, I am not so sure. I think, but I'm definitely the only person who is doing both guitar and modular.
Okay.
Or both pedal and modular right now. It's I hope there are more soon. So.
And then I saw already the file. You have sent in a little file. I saw a little glimpse of it. They didn't show me the whole thing. But I was impressed you have a young guy playing music with, and is this one
Yeah.
guy who's constantly working for you, or how can we imagine Animal Factory Amplification as a company? Is that mostly you, or is that 25 other young engineers, please?
No, I'm very, it's, well, it's not 25. I wish that was the case, and I hope maybe that is the case someday. I have a very small but excellent team that helps me. It used to be 3 people, but now one of them has to go back to school for some time. So I am short. The person playing with me in that video is Aaron Miles Pereira, who is an incredible like artist and well, actually just a young man around music and sound in his own right. He is an expert on Max NSP. He has done, I think he repaired one of the synthesizers of Vangelis when he was in Berklee College of Music. And he runs his own audio-related newsletter. So very, very competent to have somebody who is, I'm very lucky to have somebody who knows this many areas of music, and from both the hardware and the software side. The other person who is assisting me right now is Chinmay, who is had to kind of stop studying in Australia because of the coronavirus and come back here. And he's actually an electrical engineer. And the crazy thing about him is that he doesn't know anything about music, but he just really wants to work on music electronics. And it's at Animal Factory, it's always been more about, I think, just work ethic and seriousness, I guess, to some extent. Then we don't just play around here, obviously. We have a lot of fun, but it's good to have people who want to just, just do great work, basically. And that keeps me moving along.
Super. So I think it's time that we see this file with both of you now, and then we talk further.
Thank you. Thank you, ADITIJA. Great performance.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask a last question. What is quality distortion? But I think we just got the answer. Thank you.
Well, you have noise engineering next, so that's also some quality there.
Hey, ADITIJA, I'm looking forward to see you again in person one day. Stay healthy.
Next year, I hope.
And we will go ahead with the next topic here. We're having a good time, except a little rain, but that will go over, and we will still have a good time. Enjoy your day.
Thank you, Jörg, Andreas.
Take care, stay healthy, and thanks for doing this.
Thank you. Have a fantastic event.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And we're going
So
ahead.
the next thing, we have now the interview with Gammon upstairs, and we have to hurry up a little bit, I think. So we're just in time. So.
This is a modular synthesizer, a small but quite capable analog electronic instrument. I used 12 of those for my project, the Modular Synthesizer Ensemble. The Modular Synthesizer Ensemble is an inspiring workshop project with the aim of performing live electronic music together. The unique thing about it, it's for everyone. Even without any prior knowledge, you can become a part of the ensemble. In the beginning, I will guide everybody through the basics of analog sound synthesis with a modular synthesizer. The participants start exploring the instruments by themselves, and with their first sound results, we experiment, improvise and compose music, rehearsing it for a final presentation. Since the premiere at Superbooth 2017 in Berlin, I've been traveling around Europe with my modular synthesizer ensemble. But it might as well be overseas. But let me show you how these instruments sound and how to play them. The modular synthesizer consists of several different modules which can be freely configured to create a unique instrument. The patch points of the modules can be connected in a wide variety of ways to create rich sonic possibilities. But let's listen to different waveforms of a voltage-controlled oscillator, which is the main sound source. The voltage-controlled filter changes those waveforms, allowing the harmonic content to be modulated. ADSR module, in combination with the step sequencer, is responsible for the articulation of individual sound events. Many people ask me why I'm working with modular synthesizers. Well, I bought my first modules in the 90s after I had seen an ad for a Doepfer A100 modular system. That made me curious. Ever since, I have been using the modular constantly, enjoying its flexibility and ever-changing workflow. I can touch all parameters at all times, which makes me directly involved in the sound design process. And there are always unexpected surprises or so-called happy accidents, which I find inspiring. Plus, I'm not very good with a computer mouse. I need to make music with my fingers.
Modular synthesizer ensemble, which we had today, a great concert with 12 little modular sets. And I think in the video we could see a little bit of it. Gammon, when you were finished with the concert, you said that you were deeply touched and with tears in your eyes. And I can say, yes, I felt the same.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, indeed, it's really a special moment. Imagine in the morning, a school class comes in, they have no idea about the instrument, about not even about what they will do the next hours, and they start from scratch. They build up a patch, they create their own sounds. And then we create together. We create a piece of music, and they are able to perform it. This is amazing. And till now, I did more than 100 workshops, and
wow.
Every time it is really such an emotional moment for me. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, why is that? This educational thing. What is so important for you?
Well, there's so many things about. First, it is a possibility to give people an opportunity to do something, and they make experiences they never could before in this manner. You know, this is very unique. So and I think this is also kind of the social part of it, where people do something, they create something what they didn't think of before they can do.
Yeah, what I think is amazing, you are using modular synthesizers, and I would say a modular synthesizer is first of all a very abstract access to music, to sound. But why the modular synthesizer?
Yeah, this is simple because I played the modular since the 90s. And one day we met also in the 90s in where I was touring with my trio. But then one day I met Andreas on the street actually, and he came up to me and said, "Hey, Gammon, you're doing workshops," and I was in this topic before already, doing workshops with youth and
with kids.
Yeah. And so he came up to me and said, "Hey, why not do it with modular?" So.
And in between, it became such a great number that you made hundreds of workshops, as you just said. And to be honest, it makes me a little bit proud because it's the result of the Superbooth, because it was made for Superbooth, and now it became a thing on its own, and we're getting kids to understand the combination between mathematics, physics, and music. And I want to say tomorrow we have another workshop with Gammon, where there's Oberschule from Berlin sending a class with physics children. So the physics teacher is taking the class to the workshop, and they know nothing about it because they say, oh, physics, you know, and I think that will be perhaps even, you know, this is another thing. Today we had the Rütli campus, and on Friday we have the Zille Schule. This is both primary schools. This is little children with intercultural mixed society, and this is even more impressive, but we'll see what will happen tomorrow. And on Saturday we will have students in a workshop. So there's plenty of workshops already documented during the Superbooth, because we're doing it now since when? 2017? Or?
17, yeah.
17 we started this. And I just wanted to not miss, sorry to, but I think the time is running because we have a next topic. First of all, thank you, Gammon, for being here and for doing it again. Thanks also to your supporters, the Miller-Zillmer-Stiftung.
Yeah,
we will
thanks
get
so
that
much.
later on. We will see again at 6 o'clock, where Gammon will present his results of the workshop from today inside the Miller-Zillmer-Foundation, and then you can listen to that, what happened today in the morning. And now we have to swap over because we have another Gesprächskonzert with friends from America, and this is noise engineering, and therefore you will see some impressions of the event Superbooth from outdoors now, and then we see us again in 2 minutes on stage with noise engineering. Thank you.
The Quanta sampler that just came out, and then some of the things that we've been working on since we haven't left our houses for 2 years. We've got a lot coming, and so we thought we would take this moment to introduce you to it. And we have enough time at the end for questions, if there's questions from the audience or people that are watching the stream.
I would say we watch the video first and then we talk again. Perhaps people have some questions about it. Thank you for doing it. And by the way, good morning. I think it's 7 o'clock.
7:45 a.m. here, and thank you for having us.
So you had a coffee already, and it's okay time for you?
It's early.
Still having that coffee.
Have a coffee, yeah.
Cool. See you soon, and thank you for doing this. And now we started, no? Are you ready there? Okay, he's still working on that, but perhaps Jörg already had a question for noise engineering. Okay, it's modular, so I guess the people in the audience know about what that is. You know, Chris, you're very busy on the internet. I see nearly every day at least. You know, I'm not on Facebook, but I still read the Twitter thing and made a few. So I always see your patch examples and your videos about modules where the ladders are going down. And I think it's interesting because this is not the techno people. You know, there's plenty of techno people. Your sound is more wavy if I click on it and listen to it. Where do you come from musically wise?
So to be clear, I don't do the social media. We have our team doing the social media. And so it can be either Norman, who you'll meet in the video, or Marcus sometimes does it. And we've just hired Patrick, who you won't see in the video because he just joined. And so all of them are really doing most of our social media. And everybody on the team is a little bit different musically. Stephen is very much more techno-based.
Okay.
I'm all over the place. Norman is a bit more ambient. Patrick is a little all over the place. Marcus likes drum and bass, but can make anything. So we're very diverse, and we really like to make instruments, make modules that can be used for anything.
Okay, so, and you're all into modular, and you're a team of 6 or 7 then, I counted right?
We are now 6, yeah.
6, okay, great. And Daniel, are we ready with the file?
Hello, and thanks for joining us. I'm Chris from Noise Engineering. We're super sad that we can't be there in person with you, but since we can't, we thought we would take you on a virtual tour of the Noise Engineering headquarters, talk a little bit about how COVID has changed, the things that we're doing and how we're doing them, a little bit about what we've been up to, and of course, what you can expect to see from us in the near future. If we go way back to February 2020, before we really knew about COVID, we here at Noise Engineering were working from our house in Los Angeles and considering moving into an official office. Then in March, that idea got put on an abrupt hold. Now we're permanently working remotely. We have team members in a few U.S. states now, and Stephen and I still have our offices in our house. We have a regular team meeting on Zoom, which is not quite as great as being together, but it's better than not getting to do what we do. We've been super busy working on many products, and last month we released Quantus Ampla. Here's Norm to tell you all about it.
Hey there, Norman here from Noise Engineering. Today I'm here to talk to you about this, the Quantus Ampla. Quantus Ampla is 4 channels of DC coupled goodness and 6 HP to handle all of your VCA needs. Ducking, mixing, CV controlled leveling, and more. Quantus Ampla is a compact 4-channel VCA. However, this is not just any VCA. With some unique normaling, mixing, and CV options, you can use it for a plethora of tasks. Each channel has 2 modes, Amplify, which gives you normal VCA response, and Attenuate, which makes the VCAs closed instead of open in response to positive CV. So here I have it in Amplify with 2 voices. It is working as a normal VCA. With the flip of a switch, now it's closing instead of opening. If we introduce the gate from our kick, bam, we're ducking. The CV inputs are circularly normal, so you can easily create ducking effects over multiple voices, volume fades, and transitions, all with minimal patching. Plus the outputs mix down, so it can be a 2-channel mixer, a 3-channel mixer, or a 4-channel mixer. Quantus Ampla is DC coupled so it can process CV signals too. I have channel 1 patched up with our half-wave rectification patch that's found in our patch book, along with a ton of other great patch ideas. This is just the LFO from Clep Diaz before running it through the Quantus Ampla. I have a +5 DC offset coming from Lapsasaz to the in jack, and an LFO from Clep Diaz into the CV jack. I then have the out going into modulate on the Loquelica Territas so we can hear the difference. You can see the difference in the waveforms here. The top in green is just the signal from the CD. Below in blue is after it's been half-wave rectified. Quantus Ampla is available now. Head over to your favorite retailer and grab one today.
2021 also marked our move into plugins with our AAX bundle in January and with our Frequel bundle, that's free beta bundle in VST, AU, and AAX this summer. Alana?
Hi, my name's Alana. I'm the Destroyer of Worlds here at Noise Engineering. I make sure that all of our software is working properly. I want to give you a little preview of what we've been cooking.
This year we released 3 totally free plugins. This is Sync Barrier. It's based on Sync Itter. There's 3 modes, noise, plain, and super. Each is controlled by a tone slider. Here's our Vert Barrier. It's a powerful synthesizer based on a unique set of synthesis algorithms that are also shared with our Arturia Microfreak firmware. And we have the same ADSR and Ampli sections as well. Rowena is a multi-distortion plugin with a wave filter, and you can get some pretty intense results. You could also use it just for some subtle coloration.
So if you want to try the Frequel bundle, it's available now for free through the customer portal at portal.noiseengineering.us. Also, we want to shout out to all of our beta testers who tested all of the plugins for us and gave us amazing feedback. We owe a huge debt of gratitude to them for helping us make the products better and helping us figure out what we didn't know. So thank you to everybody who has submitted bug reports. Interested in Basimilis, Cursus, and Desmodus and VST3 and AU? We're working on it, and they're coming soon. Now, when we launched beta plugins, we got a lot of questions from all of the Reason users out there asking about rack extensions. So here's Adam, one of our software engineers, to answer all of the questions for you.
Hi, I'm Adam, Chief Plumber at Noise Engineering. This summer, we've been working on more Reason rack extensions based on Noise Engineering's Eurorack hardware. It's been awesome hearing more of our sound coming from a Reason rack. The visual design of these rack extensions will remind you of their hardware roots, but with a different twist. They include Virtuelles, a powerful synth based on unique algorithms, Sync-Iter, an intuitive wave morphing and wave folding synth, and Rowena, creative multi-distortion. If you haven't made music in Reason before, you should check it out. It's fun, and I think it looks awesome. I love the back panel where you can connect things in a way that feels like modular hardware. And there are other new and updated rack extensions where that came from. We're having a lot of fun with these, and I know you will too.
And of course, we're a Eurorack company. We still get a lot of questions about the Versio platform. People just can't believe that if you buy any Versio module, you get them all. But it's true. Just hop on over to our customer portal at portal.noiseengineering.us to swap firmwares for free. And with our collaboration with Winterbloom, you can get beautiful panel overlays and hot swap on the go. Pick up panel overlays at the Winterbloom website and pick up a Winterbloom module while you're there. Swapping firmwares couldn't be easier. Have a look. And of course, we'll continue to add firmwares to the collection. Here's Stephen with a teaser of the next firmware coming soon. Finally, Marcus is here to introduce a completely new module that we've never talked about before, ever, really. We have coming next month, unless another completely unforeseen and extremely unexpected event occurs. Marcus, take it away.
I'm Marcus, the Chief of Destruction at Noise Engineering, and this is the Weissverga, an 8-input, 8-output, never-before-seen, completely unannounced sequential switch from Noise Engineering. Weissverga is an 8-input, 8-output sequential or voltage-controlled switch with, of course, a few noise engineering twists. The switch can be configured a variety of different ways. It can be a single 8-channel switch, 2 4-channel switches, or 4 2-channel switches. Switching can be done by hand with the buttons or encoder, or with triggers, or control voltage. It also has a variety of switching directions: forward, reverse, or pendulum. Now that's a lot of features already, but Weissverga has some pretty unique randomization options as well. The seek behavior mode is your traditional sequential switch. The 1-to-1 mode is where it starts to get more unusual. This mode will route an input to a single random output in its group every time the switch advances. The 1-to-X mode is outright chaos. Routings are assigned completely randomly per group each advance, mixing up your patches completely. So, let's get into some patching. What we've been listening to is a simple polyphonic patch aided by the Weissverga. I have VV set to the 4-group mode, behavior set to seek, and direction set to forward. I have a CV sequence going into the top group and a gate sequence going into the bottom group. I've also clocked the switch so that each time a new note is played in my sequence, the switch advances, triggering a different voice. This means that my monophonic sequence is distributed over 4 slightly different voices, giving us a lovely polyphonic spread. Of course, that's just one use for Weissverga. It's a great performance tool too. Here, we're using it in the 2-group mode to swap between 2 4-voice trigger patterns, creating a really dynamic performance. and we can change up the grouping and use a random mode to completely remix that pattern. Now those are some pretty complex patches, so let's try out something a bit more traditional. Sequential switches have long been used to link sequencers together to achieve longer melodies, and here we're using Vice-Verga in 4 mode to create a 64-step sequence from a mimetic digitalis. Vice-Verga is only 8 HP, so it packs a whole lot of functionality into a small package. So whether you want to add new options to a sequencer, play with audio routing like in this patch, or something completely different, Vice-Verga will be a great choice for your system. Keep an eye out for news on Vice-Verga's release coming soon.
And finally, let's talk about those other modules. We still get a lot of emails asking about VirtIter, the oscillator platform, and UniverInter, the MIDI to CV converter.
We announced these in January of 2020 when we were a little more optimistic about how the year was going to play out.
That changed rapidly.
Yep. These modules are still in the works, but they have been delayed. We unfortunately don't have dates. This is because of a few reasons.
So with COVID, our manufacturing has been slowed down while we try to keep the manufacturing team safe. Modules are great to have, but having a manufacturing team that's healthy is even better.
And the other big factor is the part shortages, which you've probably heard about in the abstract, at least. These are hitting us pretty hard, and there are certain parts that are not available for any price that we use in these modules. These two are not the only modules that have been affected by this. We actually have a number of other modules we haven't talked about publicly yet that are also in this category that we want to release as soon as we possibly can, but we will need parts to do that.
So for now, sign up for our newsletter at noiseengineering.us for first news about all releases, both hardware and software. That's the first place we announce anything. If you're interested in the free plugins or alternate firmwares for the Versio products, check out portal.noiseengineering.us. And always check with your favorite retailer or our website for Quantus Ampla or all your Versio hardware needs or any other modules you're interested in. And of course, stay tuned for lots more coming your way. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Hi, Daniel.
Welcome to Superbooth.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Hey, and on behalf of the Miller-Zillmer-Foundation, thank you for participating in our second anniversary event, where you'll be performing later this evening in the rain.
I'm happy and proud to be here.
That's great to see you. I think a lot of people associate you with your solo piano work, and but on your most recent record that came out just a couple of weeks ago, Kerber, you're involving a lot of modular synthesis. I'd be interested to know how you got into that world of modular.
Yeah, it's funny because actually I found the piano quite boring or kind of overwhelming instruments that not really suited to inspiration or like. So I'm really bad, and especially on this album, actually, I start with the piano, and then I've been completely bored, and I thought, okay, so I will stop because I can't do that. And then I thought, hold on a sec, you will record the piano, but then you will use it as a sound bank, and to dive into it. you know, with granular stuff.
Yeah, okay.
So mainly the Morphogene and with the Octotrack as well a bit.
Great.
And I went through Modular World because of Andreas. Like we were rehearsing in Berlin, and I bought the Dupfer, like a Trotonium, like ribbon.
Oh, yeah. Great.
And that was it.
And you were hooked, like all of us. You got hooked in by your local dealer, Andreas Schneider. Not really local. So how long ago was that? So how long have you been working with Modular? Is it a while now, or is it something new to you?
No, a while, but strangely it wasn't that present in my music, you know, because I was like, it was my, and it's the same for this album, you know, I was planning to spend all winter in front of my Modular, doing just Modular. And then I had, lockdown happened, and I was really strict because, I was a bit at risk, so I didn't go to the studio, and I was, oh no. And when it was time to go to the studio to have Modular fun, it was time to record the album. So I said, no, stuck at the piano. So I found a trick to switch to Modular.
Yeah. And your studio is, I mean, I've never seen anything like it. Maybe you could give us a little talk through your studio. Yeah, it's an old disco, so there is like dancey vibes over there. So and we did the DJ booth inauguration last week. It is cool, and a mirrorball. But yeah, it's a big live room. That's like we have like 24 tape Studer. Another recorder. We got a MCI 16 2 inches, and there is the control room of the Studio A, we call it, like of the big live room with an SSL, and the synth studio with the API and all my synth collection. I always been obsessed with like a synthesizer. All the time. It was like mainly it's like, so that's funny because I never bought a fancy piano or a fancy violin. I got crappy ones actually, but I never stopped buying synthesizer. Well, it's as we said, it's an addiction. Talking of which, have you had a chance to look around Superbooth yet? Has anything caught your eye?
No, because it is. I was, like I'm a bit anxious today because I'm playing. So,
course, yeah.
So I leave it for later. And to be honest, it was raining a bit, so we went to to the area. We went to the Moog tent, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think I mean, I've had a short look around, and there's some really interesting things.
Yeah, and I got my friends, like Gael from 12 Squan, which is over there. And actually, we are doing. I don't know if he got the prototype because we're doing a synth module together.
Oh, great!
Inspired by the Monopoly kind of, because I like the random, the thing with the 4 oscillators.
Yeah. Oh, that's terrific!
Yeah,
can't wait to see that. Yeah, excellent. And do you have? I mean, I've seen your modular setup in your studio. It's huge, right? It's massive. And I was just wondering if you have any favorite. Anything that you use that is in every patch, or?
I love the further generator interface. I use the Instrio sampler as well. So, and I got the I love the Melodizer Vermona random, like yeah.
And how do you use that to create random or create melodies?
Yeah, to get faders with every the chromatic scale.
Yeah.
And then you can choose the pose, the everything, the rhythm, the randomness, and you can. So I use it as improvisation. It's always on my patch, and sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't.
Okay.
But it's always there, and go through to the sampler. To the Instro module, and so sometimes I can and then to clouds generator, and so I sometimes I do stuff like with that.
And what can we expect from your performance tonight? Do you have a piano on stage?
No, no. Actually, I remixed the album.
Okay, it's all modular tonight. Or mostly
Yeah.
Modular.
Octatrack, like sampler and modular. Yeah.
And have you done that kind of performance before?
We did that's the other setup. It was like we did a setup, but with a piano and loopers and stuff. But no, that's the first of the fully.
It's very exclusive. Very, very exclusive. What I'm interested in is, I mean, as I mentioned earlier, I think a lot of people associate you with piano music. With your solo piano work, and that's partly due to the score you did for Amélie, the film, which was...
I never did a score for it. It's just except from my first albums. Yeah. But strangely, there is not much piano on it.
Yeah.
Actually, the first album I did, the solo piano album I did is with you on mute, like it was Ossa. Okay. And so it's three albums ago. And it's the only one actually, with Gerber, but Gerber is not really piano anymore.
But then you worked a lot with a band, with a bigger band, with some incredible musicians. That was very exciting to see that.
Yeah.
So you're on a long kind of varied musical journey.
Yeah, because I start with I started music playing guitar in a post-punk band. Yeah. And doing a lot of noise. Then I discovered like German bands and like Neukraftwerk, and then I just like did work a lot with samplers and started to do music on my own. And strangely, I think I wasn't mature enough to find my way through sampling, or it was too new, so then I just like rediscover acoustic instruments. I say, oh yeah, hold on, like it can be, and it was new to me because it wasn't my culture at all. And so then I started to do toy pianos and stuff like that. And then gradually I went back to my roots. So like guitars and then.
And did you study music in a formal way?
Yeah, from 6 to 13. Okay, but as soon as I was a teenager, I was like, I swear to God that never again I would like touch a piano or a violin. And I always have that.
Yeah. Well, we're really looking forward to your performance tonight. It's going to be a little rainy, but I think we're all going to have umbrellas, and it'll be great. And you're undercover anyway, so you're...
Yeah, but, you know.
So thank you again, Yann, for
coming. Thank you very much.
Thank you for doing this.
Nobody needs a modular system now.
Then we have an EQ that also has these little things in it that make it super clean. Right. So it's really throughout the whole console. We've got all these little things that make it really perfect.
Ja, schön, cool. Ja, wir haben unseren Instagram-Channel jetzt auf 25.000.
I'm Ed Egan. I'm from Haken Audio, and I have some colleagues with me. We have Rob Schwimmer, who is going to be performing on the Continuum and on the new Expressive E Osmos. In front of me, I have a new product that we are just introducing here at Superbooth, which is the Egan Matrix module, Eurorack module. And also we have, helping us to monitor, we have products from Le Voix de Luthier, and we have Christophe Duquesne here to help us and explain some of what makes these things special. We're using them for our monitoring here, and if you come by our booth, we're over in the bungalow area. If you look at Dieter's booth and then just do a 180, you'll see us right behind Expressive E, and you can come in and try some of these instruments for yourself and also experience the wonderful sonic qualities of the Owned and the Pyramid. So as I mentioned, in front of me I have here this Eurorack case, which has our new Egan Matrix module. I'm going to be running this in combination with this Arturia key step, other control voltages, and also the Mini. I'll go in a little bit more depth when we get to that section. But over here we have the Continuum and the Osmos. The Continuum is our really the love of the company. It's the thing that we really, I wouldn't say we're most proud of. We're proud of all these things, but it really was the reason that Haken Audio came to be, that the idea that you could have truly expressive and intimately controllable music synthesizers. And you know, there's just this wonderful ability that was, unfortunately, it's very hard to achieve in electronics, where you have this human feedback loop that is very, very immediate, that happens at the same way that a violin player, and they play their instrument and they listen to the tone, and subconsciously they're adjusting minute variations in their finger pressure, and what that does for them is adjust the sound in real time. And that's the goal that we've had with the Continuum fingerboard. And a player that has an incredible feedback and haptic abilities would be Rob Schwimmer, and I'll bring Rob Schwimmer out now, and he's going to just run through a few of our Continuum presets. He'll be playing the half-size slim Continuum. We also have, we call it an S46. There's also a larger one which has 70 half steps, and it's called the S70. So why don't you take it away, Rob, if you want me to introduce any of these?
This is based on a sound that you made. It's very close to winter skipping.
Okay. Yeah, so it's, well, what's interesting is that every finger that you play can have its independent delay loops. So consequently, when you play, you can also get independent loops, but you can also subtly cross-relate them. And because the way feedback works within the system, you can adjust your finger pressure to sort of control and ride the wave of that sort of thing. So take it away. what was that second one? Okay, so yeah. Go ahead.
From front to back, the sound changes. Hello. Okay, so towards me, the surface is doing this kind of very wiry sound, but as I move, you could hear change as opposed to. So the character is very different. So it's like you have a duet from here to there. So that's pretty cool.
And if you couldn't see Rob's fingers, because that's overhead is over on this Eurorec, what he's doing is playing whether on the front or the back, because it's a three-dimensional surface.
I'll do one or two really quick other things.
Yeah, tell me what it is and I'll explain it quick.
Where is it? Okay, here's another one that changes with pedal. This is one called, well, I don't know what it was called originally, but the pedal changes it from this kind of sine wavy thing into like a French horn sort of sound. So
what Rob has done with a lot of these presets, he's used system presets and then modified them to his own playing abilities and likes through our editor and with the engine, sound engine. This is one of the, yeah. So this is a sound, we're using things called spectral sets, and you could think in a very abstract way that they're samples, but they're not really samples. They're analysis of a particular, this in fact is a D sharp from a viola, a single D sharp, and we're using granular techniques in order to loop it and stretch it and form it, shift it.
you can see how light you can play on it, I mean how quiet it is. But conversely, so if you're playing light and just leaning in, but you can also so it's totally responsive, or slow, fast. So it does exactly what you do. So if it sounds good, it's because you sound good. If it sounds bad, it's because you play bad.
That's good. Because you're bad, yeah. Okay, so Rob, we have to move on. This guy's an amazing player. But now I want to have Christophe de King come up and from Le Bras de Louvre and sort of explain the basic principle in just a couple of minutes of how this company came about and what makes these wooden resonators so special. Take it.
Okay, hello. So yeah, you have one pyramid here and one here from La Voix de Luthier, and they are both resonators, meaning that there is no speakers inside. What you're hearing from them is only the wood, vibration of the wood. They are built with traditional Luthier's techniques, like you use on guitar or a piano. And they spread the sound all over, unlike speaker that are very directive, and they have their own colors to Just a small thing on why we came up by building this kind of devices. We are all here in physical modeling world, and same thing with Expressive E. Maybe you've checked also their new imaging stuff. And when you go with physical modeling, if you end up on speakers, it doesn't sound like an acoustic instrument. And if you end up on wood, then you really get something quite close, very, very close to an acoustic instrument. So that's what we wanted to do. Of course, that's something you need to experiment, so please come to the booth. On the video, that will be more difficult. But anyway, and just two more things. On this pyramid, you have a small pyramidion, metallic, handmade one on the top. Everything is handmade from La Voix de Luthier. So we're doing this new pyramidions, and this only is a black finish one. So that means what we can do customization. So if you have some specific wish on the finish or on whatever, just contact us, and we will be happy to do this. And I'll leave the floor to Ed and Rob.
Merci beaucoup. So we're running short of time. I want to get on to our Ego Matrix module here. So what you've heard, you haven't heard the Mini, you've heard the Continuum, and we also have on stage the Osmos. And now this Ego Matrix module, and what they have all in common is our Ego Matrix sound engine. In fact, they're so common that if you were to edit a sound on a Mini, you could load it and play it on an Osmos, you could load it and play it on a Continuum, and you can load it and play it on the Ego Matrix. Now, the difference between them, all of them, is the interfaces is different. So since we're so much interested in performance interface, we have a very, very flexible sound engine that allows us to custom tailor things so that they're optimized for the particular input system that you have it mapped to. So in the engine that we have is quite expansive. We have all sorts of things. This is for an Ego Matrix in a Eurorack format, you can think of it as just like a whole bag of modules that can be all sorts of things. So it could be anywhere from a simple VCA, it could be a filter, it could be a delay, it could be combinations of things, it can be reverbs, it can be a polyphonic keyboard, it can be an MPE keyboard, it can take control voltages and convert it into performance. And so what I want to do is just show you a few things. So the first one here is just an example of taking some of the controls out, and I have this drone. So it's a whole generative dual pitch system with delay, but you can control the parameters in real time. That's one aspect of it, just using it as a generative system on itself that you can post-process and interact with in real time. I'm going to move ahead to another one where I've connected a key step to the MIDI input. So this module has MIDI through the TRS connections, MIDI in and out. It also has USB MIDI. It has control voltages for your performance data from things like the Continuum Mini. It also has control voltage control for macros that you can set up. We call them bespoke controllers. And it also has audio input and output, so you can use it as a processor. It also has a line level switch, so if you're not into Eurorack, you can have a standalone case and use it as a module and treat it as an MP music creation device. So I'm going to play. So this is showing, even though it's an MPE system, You can take a mono-channel keyboard like the key step, and I have now an 8-voice polyphonic synthesizer. Next demonstration, I'm going to do a similar thing with a different preset. But now what I'm going to do is use the capabilities of multi-MIDI strings that we can do in the Ego-Matrix module, and I can control voice from MIDI, this particular sound, and also parameters from control voltage. And the engine is smart enough to map these out and figure out one of them needs to be channelized into MPE, and the other one is a solo voice. So I can take advantage of the key bed that I have on the key step and the continuous surface I have on the Continue Mini. Okay, so I had more sounds to demonstrate for you, but we're running out of time. We're going to go to a last piece that we had prepared. If you want to explore more of this Ego-Matrix, please come by our booth. We're, opposite Dieter. So, and we'd love to spend time with you and show you some of the more of the things that it can do. So I'll just need to get set up for this next piece here.
Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Were you there when they crucified
Thanks so much. Again, so happy to be here and seeing some smiling, wonderful faces again. So please give us a visit over at the booth and enjoy the rest of the show. Thank you.
Me encanta juntar cosas. Es la meva passió.
Die Neuerung will ich eben schnell noch einlöten.
Ja.
Vorher
Mit der Nadel heiß gestrickt.
Ja, genau. Na, nicht heiß gestrickt. Das ist alles schon
Von langer Hand vorbereitet.
Ja, genau.
Also hier ist Stimming.
Hier ist Stimming.
Super. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome tonight at the Superbooth 21. This is the Miller-Zillmer-Foundation's Empfang and presentation. And what you have seen and heard here was the modular synthesizer ensemble and the result and the performance by Gammon, who played the patch that was made by 24 children of the Berlin Rüttli campus. That's a primary school, and that was children from several nations who are going to that school who never had a modular in their hands before. And this was another version of his performance that he designed with all these wonderful instruments for over 3-4 years now. And the presentation today with the children from the Rüttli campus was again so emotional, also that you see how they performed. That was happening at 1:30, around noon already, and he was just rehearsing this, and that was great. Thank you very much, Gammon from Vienna. Habe ich alles gesagt? Super. And from now on, we would like to let you understand what the Miller-Zillmer-Foundation does. It's a very special event also for me, because I was invited to help to make this foundation work, because Daniel Miller and Diane Zillmer, who are the founders of it, invited me to become member of the so-called Stiftungsrat. I don't know the English expression, but you know, we've been talking about where can we help? What can we do with the vision of socio-cultural foundation and help artists in the world to go ahead? And the education is our theme today on the Superbooth, because I think it's very important to give the knowledge and the experience that we all have with the elderly gentlemen of the generation 50 plus to the next generation, and let them understand that making electronic music is not just push start on an MP3 player or I don't know what components this can be, but to educate them in understanding what our vision is and what our fascination and passion for this theme is, that we also understand that electricity has something to do with sound and music, and that the vision is that you need interdisciplinary things in your brain, that you can combine music with mathematics and with physics. And the modular synthesizer ensemble is one basic thing that we support with the Miller-Zillmer Foundation, and we will try now in, I don't know, three-quarter of an hour to let you understand a bit more what our vision is, to first of all say thank you for your support if you are already supporters, and secondary to ask you to support this and spread the words about what we do over here. We're doing it a bit in Dinglish, you know, we're here in Germany, and but there's plenty of people from France, from Netherlands, from America, and from Russia, and from wherever, who came to the Superbooth, and I'm very happy to have this an international event again, even if we're a small society today on this unfortunately rainy afternoon. But everybody who's exhibiting here was so happy to see that the vision to make an event like this again is making sense. I'm still having a little pee-pee in the eyes if I think about that. Thank you. Dinglish, I made myself some notes. So Rüttli campus, welcome. Thanks to Gammon Education, and for everything what's coming now about the Miller-Zillmer Foundation, I would very much like to introduce the moderator, who hopefully has not that pee-pee in the eyes to talk in clear words, and that's Dr. Nicolas Bougaieff. Thanks for doing it. Come on. One last word I wanted to say to everybody outside. So we're not so many that we cannot leave more people in if they are interested. Take care for the hygienic things. You're just sitting with your families next to each other. And after this event, there's a concert from Yann TIERSEN outdoors on the seaside stage. And to let you have a good time with that, we spread these umbrellas. They are given out to the audience that we're all there, and it still feels good. And we will start these concerts half an hour delayed, that we are kind of relaxed over here and having a glass of sparkling wine before we go outdoors with our umbrellas, okay? Thank you. Dr. Nicolas Bougaieff will lead us through the program now. Thank you.
Thank you, Andreas. So, thank you very much for being here today. Really, we're very glad to see everybody who was able to make it. And of course, thank you very much for your interest in the Miller-Zillmer-Foundation. The foundation is now celebrating its 2-year anniversary. And we've been busy during this time. And today, for the first time, we'd like to show you a first and exclusive look at what the foundation's been doing. And I know in the room here we have already a few of our cooperation partners and our supporters, so thank you also for being here. On the foundation board of directors, of course, we have Andreas. There's Joe Dilworth, who could not be here today. Diane Zillmer is also on the board and managing director. But most importantly, I would like to welcome the founders, Daniel Miller and Diane Zillmer.
Thank you, Nicolas.
Thank you, Nicolas.
Thank you for the lovely introduction. Thank you, Andreas, for your always eloquent
More than welcome. Thanks to you.
Introduction. It's great to see you here, as Nicolas said, to see your friends and supporters here today. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, finally a first step to being together.
Exactly, yeah.
So really, Diane, Daniel, can you tell us what's the purpose of the foundation?
Well, the purpose of the foundation, or the focus, is about art and culture, education, vocational training, and research and science. Well, and overall, the international tolerance. It sounds a bit complex, but all the aims are interdependent. But you will see when we have a short view into the project.
It's we can see it on the slide there. There's a lot of topics. There's a lot of different approaches. If you had to boil it down to one thing, what ties it all together? It's very interdisciplinary.
Yes, exactly. It's exactly the interdisciplinary part. It's not about, we not focus on an album or supporting an album or a film only or a photo project. It's more the interdisciplinary in all these, so audio and visual, but overall the social and educational point. So that gives a different aspect.
Right, so it's always, there's some component or both of audio, visual,
exactly.
A lot of social engagement, and, well, educational. We've got an example here with the Modular Synth Ensemble, of course.
Yeah, which is, as Andreas said, it's a way to involve young people in electronic music, but not for the sake of electronic music. I think the point about it is that with Modular, you can immediately engage with it in some way and find a form of expression through it really easily. And what Gammon is doing, he's giving that opportunity to young people who maybe have never played with any musical instrument before, let alone a modular synth. And the performance this afternoon was just really, really incredible. And to see young people engaging so deeply and in such a concentrated way, and having so much pleasure from it as well, which really is very moving.
Right, because they're going from zero to performing in a very short time, right?
Yeah, I mean, they met this morning at 9 o'clock, never having touched a modular synth, and by 1:30 they were ready to do a performance, and it was really musical and really inspiring performance. It wasn't just like random stuff. It was a really great musical performance. To see all these, I think there was 20 or 24 kids on stage with the modular synthesizers. Yeah.
It's terrific. I mean, the performances here at Superbooth, it's with the groups of young students, but also it involves the students from the University of the Arts, UDK.
Exactly,
how did that come about?
Every day there's a workshop from 9 till 1:30 with school classes from different schools. So I think there was a Ridley school.
Tomorrow there's a physics class for a physics 10th class from an Oberschule, and on Friday there's another primary school from Kreuzberg, the Zille-Schule, and on Saturday there's the students. And every day at 1:30 there's a presentation of these projects. So if you are on the venue the following days, you can just enter through this or that door and listen to it and see it yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, I remember the first time I saw the modular synthesizer ensemble was actually here at Superbooth a few years ago. It was actually before we started the foundation. And as soon as we came together with the idea of what the foundation should be, I really felt that was something we should be involved with. I mean, I was literally in tears when I saw that, to see this kind of emotion. And we're really happy to be working with Gammon and his projects.
It's really that intersection of music, which we were very much involved in, but then there's the social engagement aspect of it, which is a really key thing of the foundation. So the next project that we can look at, it's also very socially engaged, but not with the audio portion, but more a visual type of project.
Exactly. The next project, Mein Leben, mein Körper, meine Entscheidung, also my life, my body, my decision. I have to say, I'm not so good in English, so for that I have to gasp when I use the words, but I try to do my best. Anyhow, so yeah, this project we did with a cooperation partner, Aktion 70, Jugendhilfe im Verbund.
That's here, right here in Berlin.
Exactly, based in Berlin, and it's a youth welfare organization. And so we worked over several months with a group of girls who anonymously housed in Berlin. With learning about the medium of camera and use the camera and the images to talk about your identity, about your boundaries, find out what I like on my body, what I don't like on my body. So that was also pretty emotional because these kids never had a camera in their hand, and today, as a day by day, everyone is with his phone, and all the kids are so overloaded and overflooded from the social medias. So it's different when you learn the medium of a camera and to use it to understand also the picture you see in the social media. So that was a great project.
Right, social media, body image, boundaries, identity, right?
Exactly.
So you had a cooperation partner. You had Dimitri Hegemann, right, from Kraftwerk, who helped out on this one. Is that right?
Yes, Dimitri Hegemann kindly helped us with the location. So he gave us the Kraftwerk Berlin location to do the final shooting. And that was also for the kids there. They never been in Kraftwerk, of course. And they were just shocked. They were just like, wow. And it was great. I don't know if Dimitri is here today, but thank you,
that must have been brilliant. So the kids with the modular ensemble, they have their performance the same day. And here in this case, the participants had their first gallery exhibit, or their gallery shooting in the Kraftwerk.
Exactly.
That's exciting. One of the themes that you work with these young participants, I mean, it's very it's touchy stuff. It's very delicate. It's very personal. Body image, identities, how to relate to the world, with themselves. This topic of identity comes up a few times in these projects.
Exactly.
In this case, it was identity kind of on a personal level, one-on-one here in Berlin. But the next project kind of looks at identity on a bit of a larger scale, international. So it's a big theme. Identity, migration. It's a topic we hear a lot these days in Europe, especially obviously every few years, and probably it's going to keep on going like that. We got to deal with who we are, where we live, and getting along with new people. This project is called, it's a big one, it's called Islands of Time, and it kind of deals with all this stuff in a very thorough way, and it's very, very much international, the focus of this one. What is it, Islands of Time?
Well, Islands of Time is a long-term research art project where the multidisciplinary artist Nicolas Massini goes on the steps of what shapes the identity of its nation, of a nation and its culture, and thus through migration. So he goes to different places, which is islands of time, islands of
actual islands,
Salinas,
okay,
but also Argentina, Genoa, to different places to interview people and go through the historical archives. Let's say places where migration was a big factor and changed not only the architecture of a city, also the culture and the society. And I mean, we have a short excerpt of this where the artist itself talks a bit about. Maybe you have a short look?
Yeah.
Is it possible to live with memory without falsifying it? As for all things tending towards infinity, a set of islands remember. An island remembers its territory, in constant motion, always in the process of, far from the accuracy of precision or linearity. An island knows its people, composed by all the multitudes, stepping into its shores, mutable delimitations. An island acknowledges its margins, facing the complex apparatus represented. It translates through the continuously changing historical context. An island acknowledges, conscious about the fact that over time its delimitations might be subjected to a substantial dose of interpretation. An island possesses multiple identities, knowing that yesterday was never simply there, and tomorrows cannot be taken for granted. Before and after are deeply interconnected, depicted as different entities belonging to a separate temporality.
A sense of a transience, and I mean, he said like tomorrow is uncertain. Get this idea of the islands as a metaphor for identity, for who we are.
Exactly. I mean, when we are able to, I mean, we all have our individual focus on our own individual understanding of identity and cultural identity overall. And what he does is he goes through this archival material and he manipulates. I don't know if it's the right word, manipulate.
Yeah, he kind of alters it.
Exactly, to give a different view to it, so that we are able to see the history or what happened also from a different perspective. So.
But he was also interviewing people living in those places now, and comparing it or drawing links between what was then and what was now and what's changed.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Actually, this project, like so many of the projects actually, but this project really resonated with me personally, as I'm a product of migration. My parents were refugees from Nazi-occupied Austria. They came over to the UK in the late 30s, right at actually 1939. I grew up as a weird mixture of English, Jewish, Austrian, eating Wiener Schnitzel, but also fish and chips. And now I've migrated here to Berlin. And so actually this project actually gave me insights into my own feelings of identity and my cultural references, which of course I had some before, but this gave me a deeper meaning, so it really resonated with me personally.
Yeah, I mean, it really is a topic that touches all of us. It's universal in that sense. If you go back far enough, or sometimes it's in our own life, we're always moving around. The next project of the foundation is also very international in that sense. So when I first heard the title, I had to do a double take because, no, I don't need to read it. I actually know it, but it is electronic art by and for indigenous communities. That sounds great, but I had to do a double take because that's not a string of words that I've heard before together. So electronic art, the ADITIJA project, who's behind this or what's behind this?
Yeah, aire, which means air, translated, is initiated by an NGO from Latin America called Chidewa. It's a bit difficult. They are based in Brazil, and since many, many years they work for the voices of indigenous communities, and especially also on the exchange between indigenous communities and non-indigenous communities, or the so-called Western world. And yeah, it was quite a complex project. There were 23 artists involved who came from Ecuador, Venezuela, Chile, Brazil, Argentina.
That's a huge network
Exactly.
that they're managing.
Exactly, and also under the aspect, they were mostly all from, not all, but mostly from indigenous communities. But the word indigenous communities I don't like so much because it gives like an overview, like it's not. In Spanish you say pueblos originarios. They have all and each an individual language, and normally they're communicating between each other.
So how are they managing?
Yeah, through that project, they start to get in touch. They start to learn about each other. They separate in different groups.
Right.
I
mean, what did they work on?
They worked on, well, let's see, for example, there was one group which had an outcome, ADITIJA. It was a woman group, I'm sorry, a women's group who worked on the voices from women, also the misunderstanding of women, the not listening to women, the violence against women, actually all over the world. So they created a video piece or a song and worked with the sound reverse, so with the voices. So you're not able to understand them. And yeah.
And that's symbolic.
Exactly.
That's symbolic of the lack of how people don't listen to them. So the lyrics were reversed. So
yeah, yeah. And there's also another project which is Sueño Profundo, which is called Deep Dream. So this group used called an image generator, Deep Dream, for the expression. So when you know, if you know, you might maybe know, that communities, original communities, also Mayas, indigenous communities, Aborigines, they use their dreams for their vision, for their education.
As a source of wisdom, of information, of inspiration.
Dream,
yeah.
Exactly. The
they take it more seriously.
Yeah, the dream is a very important part in the daily way of living in the community. So they use this deep dream generator for the expression. And like how the group and all the people flew together somehow. It's a bit, sorry for my English. Es ist ein bisschen schwierig, das in Englisch zu erklären, aber gut. There's also another group who worked more on a political and journalistic level. this outcome called Resistir, which is in translation resistance, and talks about, I need you a bit in the English.
Yeah, they're talking about the destruction of their land, about the destruction of the rainforest, the destruction of the Amazon, and how how the land of their ancestors has been taken away from them by farmers to grow soya for worldwide meat production, and so these communities are being thrown out of their lands, their historical lands that they've occupied for centuries, and all the traditions that go with it, and they're thrown into the kind of more of a Western colonialized system, which means those things that those tools, those thoughts, those dreams could be lost forever, and that's a real tragedy.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. I mean, it's especially what you said, so the displacement for agriculture. It's a huge theme in the Amazonas right now. And also here in Germany or in Europe, everyone talks about climate change.
But there they have it right in their face.
Excuse me?
They have it right in their face. It's real.
Yes, exactly. We're talking here always about climate change and doing something, but in the meantime, we're watching how the Amazonas, which is the lung of the earth, get destroyed, especially now under the current government. So these projects talk about that and the need of action. That's very important.
Yeah, it's quite touching that it was projects that were worked on by people right there.
Yeah.
Right. That was the Resistir.
That was there was a Resistir one, and there was another. I mean, there's so many outcomes, so I would like to make it short because you have all a little flyer, I think, and there's also QR codes on it, so you can get in touch with us. We're very happy about that, and you see all the projects on our website. But El Despertar as well, it's the awakening, it calls. So 2 girls, one sitting in Brazil and the other one in Argentina, both aged between 12 and 14, talks in this video about identity, to growing up between the Western world and the Western education with indigenous roots and the need of education on that. So that was also quite emotional.
It's it's serious. It's very serious topics. Yeah. What impact are you hoping that the ADITIJA project may have? What's the what impact do you hope for with this project?
Well, as we said, we want to bring it to Europe, bring the importance to Europe, because a lot of people don't know what is really happening in Latin America right now. The other thing is also to see it could work across borders. So this project was inspired by another project of us, which is the stipend, the Artist at Home residency, which only worked on digital basis.
Right.
And so all these artists, or all the people, all the groups, they worked literally from their home. So Latin America was badly affected as well by the pandemic. So they only worked on digital level, so a Zoom platform and Skype or whatever they had available. And another point is also they didn't have a tone studio, could work with a camera team, so they could only work with their devices they had there, so which was mobile or a little laptop or whatever.
And I imagine they had not done this before. They were not previously organized, or they had it
at all. They made it the first time, and it could work. So it's like go a bit forward.
And all the works are completely different from each other, which is great. Yeah. And I think it's important to remember that we talk about indigenous communities, but actually that's not a homogeneous group. Each of these communities in the different countries have a very different history, different culture, different language, importantly. And I think so bringing those things together has created a really powerful voice to express the issues that surround the people in Latin America right now.
Yeah, I mean, as we know, like obviously Latin America, as you said, was and continues to be really hit by the pandemic.
Yeah.
There's a lot of countries. I mean, it's about 15 or 20 countries across the project. It's it's really quite impressive and inspiring what they managed to pull together. You mentioned that the sort of work that they did together, purely through digital, purely on a digital level, it was inspired by another foundation project, which is very much about working on a digital level, the home residency. How did this work out?
Well, the Artist at Home residency we initiated right after right when the pandemic came out.
When it was from lockdown and
Yeah, just right. We immediately, it was February, no? When February, March beginning, and we immediately thought what we can do, because especially the artist scene and culture workers, they were hardly.
Because the foundation was barely set up, and then boom, like all the
Yes, that was another point.
So you had to reorganize real quick.
Exactly. We thought in the beginning about it to create an emergency fund, but the government came immediately in and did it a lot.
Right.
So we created then this program, Artist at Home Residency, which involved 4 artists from different countries, different cultural backgrounds, different art disciplines, to work on one collaborative project over a period of 3 months. It's an artist stipend.
Okay.
And those artists have been deeply affected financially because, and not just financially, but also creatively because of COVID and the lockdown. And that was a very important part of our decision to go forward with this and our choice of artists. So it's really to support artists during the
Supporting
difficult
artists
times.
through opportunities to pursue their practice.
Yeah.
So what kind of themes, so beyond the formal organization, the opportunity, what were the themes that were proposed or that were set up?
Well, we only did a structure.
So no set theme.
We didn't set a theme. We set a structure, also the project, the timeline as a deadline. That 4 artists, that they're working together collaboratively, that they give an insight into their work, into their process. So give also our network the possibility to see how the process is going.
How did that involve? How did the foundation's network get involved with the artist residency?
Well, once a month, actually, we we managed with the artist to do a Q&A, or if they would prefer, do a video or podcast.
With the public, live,
yeah,
right, the live Q&A, of course.
The foundation audience to be part of it, and also to meet the artist and do questions. And we had a quite big response to that.
Yeah, we had a great response, and actually the Q&As or the meetings, whatever you want to call them, were really, really quite intense, and the questions that came out of the audience were really well guided, were well directed and thoughtful. And I think the artists, the group, actually probably learned a lot from that as well, because even though you're 4 people, you're working in a vacuum, and as soon as you start presenting yourself to the public, then you get a different perspective of it, and I think it was very helpful for them and for our network.
You can't observe, you can't get involved with the process without changing it. I was there when with the Q&As, it had an impact on the projects. I mean, it's the fascinating thing about this one is that it's the digital communication thing. Communication between the participants became such a central part of it, and then with the network, with the presentations and the interaction once a month, which means it was happening throughout. That communication also became a central part of the piece. So the whole communication dynamics became really central to the process.
Yes, exactly. It was, let's say, the first project is a program we planning to run over 3 years, 2 or 3 years.
But it's
did
gone
it
twice already.
Right? Last year once and this year one. And It is quite an intense process, especially as we're not setting a theme, which is we give them totally freedom to decide what they're working on over the 3 months. So,
can we have a look at the process, actually?
Sorry?
Can we have a look at the process?
Yeah, of course. So in the last project, the artist set their theme. Actually, the process is the theme.
That was a theme. So
that was a theme.
The theme of the project is the project.
Was the process, yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
The process,
Yeah. Right.
exactly. And to document that because of the intensity. So you can see there's a starting point. So we come all together, obviously via Zoom, and give the introduction to the artist. Then the artist, well, let's say like that. You can split the project in 3 phases. In the first months, it's coming together, learning about your different skills and your different focus. In the second, it's about to develop the theme, what we're going to work on. And the third phase, which is or seems to be the most difficult one, it's to finalize and agree on the final outcome. And yeah, I mean, we know the artist's work is a very individual work.
I mean, when I was in art school, the one lesson I remember that I still hold very dear to my heart to this day was that whatever you do, you got to deliver in the end. Like that's kind of the main thing. But yeah, like you're saying, that's already hard enough to do on your own, and you know, artists are they're idiosyncratic. They're as different as they are individuals. They can be complex.
Yeah, and I think it's important to emphasize that the artists never met before. This is the first time they met. That they come from completely different countries and cultures, and they come from very different disciplines.
So how did they...
music, audiovisual, photography, film.
And they were not necessarily doing multidisciplinary works prior to this residency?
Well, some yes, but everyone has his own focus. So the as they always said, or we saying, it is kind of more a social project than a purely art project. And the artist itself, they're saying it too, the participant always, it's so new for them, this communication, to put back your own ego, you know, to learn from each other as well. Also the sound artist from the video artist. And, you know, it's quite emotional. But you asked before, here I see that I would like to mention as well. Here you see, for example, the engagement phase from the last project. The 4 artists and how they were engaged. So you can see really that they, in the middle of the residence, they split it into 2 parts, into 2 groups. And one wanted to go more into the structure part and the structure size of the outcome, and one wanted to use more the free form of the outcome. So, and then you see the splitting and then coming together again and the splitting. It's, yeah, I think that reflects quite well
the process,
how the emotional part
how
is.
the group dynamic in a way.
Exactly,
you know.
and I have to say it's quite a new project. This completely digital based, and we're looking forward, hopefully soon, maybe to transform it in a hybrid version.
Right.
So
I mean, we can see it's brilliant how the outputs of the work like reflects the dynamics. We saw a few of those, but how is this going to be presented in the end?
Well, from the pilot project, the artist created an audiovisual work, which we are applying on film festivals. Also to say, it is a work which was done digitally, but we would like to put the outcome
right,
digitally.
not just
we would like to
online.
put it in physical spaces.
Okay.
And or give the access in physical spaces. And the second project now, which is right now finished, they created this installation, which involved sound installation, video, virtual or augmented reality, and yeah, we're looking forward to see it in a real space. But maybe we can have a short look of an excerpt from the audio-visual piece from Capitula, which is the outcome from the first project.
It's,
Yeah.
It's a lot of projects. I mean, we've had many conversations, and we're preparing for this talk, and but really, you know, when you think about it, I mean, when I think about it, it's really a bit mind-blowing how many projects were initiated in this short time. And it's an honor for me to be able to help on the project, so thank you. But the question is, what is the best way that people can help support the foundation's work?
Well, we're a donation-based foundation, so we rely on donations. That's pretty straightforward. Not as straightforward to get them, but it's a straightforward statement.
Alles klar.
Yeah, alles klar. We're also always looking for volunteers who want to help us with specific skills, which is always welcome. And And also, as Diane mentioned, we're looking for a space where we can which will have a few different functions. One is to exhibit the work or to show the work that we've created or been created by the projects that we work with, including the installation, for instance, that we talked about earlier from the second home residency. But also we want to build an active archive of analog instruments, musical instruments, photographic instruments that will be accessible to the public through workshops or teaching, but very much keep those instruments alive, keep them accessible. And in the same way as the modular synthesizer ensemble introduces people to these instruments, that's something that we want to continue as well with an archive in a space that we can find somewhere in Berlin or wherever.
Exactly. Yeah. Also to make, to give also further generations the possibility to have access to contemporary instruments, whether from the music or film.
It's a very long-term vision.
Exactly, it's a long-term vision. Right. And to admit, it's not only for exhibition, we're looking for a place for sharing and gathering, to going into talks, to going...
To show, to experience, to play, to create.
Exactly. So that is the next step.
Yeah, so those things are the things we need. Yeah. And we want to obviously we want to expand the breadth and depth of the projects that we're working with. The home residency is an ongoing project, for instance. We've done 2 now. We want to continue with that. And there are a lot of projects in the pipeline that are really interesting that we need support for.
And even the way that people can stay in touch, well, first of all, there's the traditional methods. Of course, there's social media, and there's the website. But you did something special. You made a human letter to keep people informed.
Exactly. The human letter is also a longer running project, came out of a newsletter, came also a project which was initiated in the pandemic. So, as we all know, we get bombed by newsletter. Who's open a newsletter anymore, you know? So, and we thought, no, we need to do a newsletter. Yeah, but never newsletter in your mailbox, no. So how we can change that? And so we created the human letter, which comes out regularly on an unregular basis, so 2 up to 4 times a year. And it's created by an artist or designed by an artist. So gives the news, but the design, the artwork, does an artist. That is another thing, to support
artists, yeah.
Support artists, give a wider audience or spread the work. And I would like, that's for example from the human letter number 3. In a minute I come to that. I would like, and I'm very proud or very happy about now, the first time the human letter number 5 came out as a limited print edition. And yeah, so this project is also growing. It's now a magazine, a physical magazine, which is far away from a newsletter. Yeah. And on this human letter, this was created by Oksana Demidova, also from home in the pandemic, and I'm very happy to have her here today, live in the audience, and I would be very happy to welcome her on the stage.
Ach so, okay.
We give her the artwork. The artwork is there.
Yeah, where is it?
And we have to say, she came from Ukraine. Unfortunately, I never can say her town name. I spell it really wrong. So it's
Western Ukraine, here's a microphone. Take this.
It's Lviv.
Take this.
I can't say it.
It's Western Ukraine.
Yes, and so the first time also we see the work in real. So we only received it through digital. And today she came to Superbooth to bring us the real prints, which she did through Linocut, but maybe she can say something.
Yeah, the artwork was inspired actually by a home residency project. And yeah, we have 4 artists and we have 4 birds, and I know you too were deeply touched by this personally, which was super great. Yeah. And I'm deeply pleased and thankful to be able to show it in person. So.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
They're really great, and and as you said, they're done in the lino cut, which is a really traditional way of creating art.
Yeah, let's say it's a human letter you receive as a newsletter, but is created handmade, or let's say it's handmade.
Yeah, and as we mentioned before, all these projects, they all have their own very carefully presented microsite. So if you go to the QR code on the little flyer you got here, you can get all the information. We will join you for drinks outside the auditorium in a few minutes. We have a concert with Yann TIERSEN at 7:30, I believe.
That's shifted to 8 o'clock now.
That's at 8 o'clock.
We're kind of relaxed. And
all right.
I could take over
Excellent.
saying that we agreed that we invite you after all these informations in front of these upper doors to a little glass of sparkling wine or orange juice. Thanks for following up whatever we had to tell you. We're supporting the Miller-Zillmer-Foundation because also this event and the Miller-Zillmer-Foundation is something about international connections, setting up the network, doing something for artists and being with artists and understanding the interconnection between those who have interest in the results and who are doing it and who are having opinions on how the world should change and how we should change the world if we can, and how we, first of all, should change ourselves, I think. And this is what we have to talk about on all levels we have, because that's urgent and we all know about it. And that's why I would say, let's go on, have a glass of something, and then enjoy the concert of Yann TIERSEN and even more things. I heard that tomorrow the weather is fine, so use the umbrellas for tonight, for worst case, that we are all easily standing outdoors, having a good time, and then Friday and Sunday should be sunny, and then also... Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to say thank you, Andreas, for giving us the opportunity to do our presentation at the wonderful Superbooth.
More than welcome.
And thank you all for coming and supporting us. And we look forward to having a chat now.
Exactly.
And a glass of sparkling something or other.
Exactly, and also thank you for all the artists and workers who made that possible. You know.
Exactly.
The network
Our
is
team
growing.
and our team. And Nicolas, thank you for a lovely moderation.
And
Susanna,
Tina and all the team, Daniel, and realizing this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Come
See
on,
you for a
let's
drink.
go.
They perform like seals. They die. Like box office. Like box office. Proceeds. They perform like seals. They die. They die. They perform like seals. They die. They die. Each day. Each day. Each day. Each day. But in the seething honeycomb, there is a growth as of plants, and an animal warmth, almost suffocating, a vitality which accrues from rubbing and gluing together, a hope which is physical as well as spiritual, a contamination which is dangerous. dangerous but salutary. Small souls perhaps, burning white tapers, but burning steadily, incapable of throwing portentous shadows